in possession of a weapon that was a defendant who, again, is a prohibited possessor, was found in possession of a weapon that was apparently used by his brother, who is a suspect in a near fatal shooting last month. There seems to be something a bit deeper here, and therefore the state is very concerned that if the probation hold is cleared up, this is a dangerous person that could be let loose on the community. 25,000.
All
Don't say anything, right?
right. My hope for a $20,000 bond. Your next court date is December 30th at 1:30, and Gary Redente is appointed to represent you. You're excused.
Good evening, Your Honor. This is the Spanish interpreter. And the list doesn't indicate any Spanish speakers, but I don't know if that's been verified or not.
Verify whether we have Spanish speakers.
No, Judge. No Spanish speakers, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you were saying what now? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, are we continuing the audit until tomorrow morning?
He said he's going to waiver for precedence. Judge, they're asking at the jail if we're going to continue Ms. Delgado.
Wait a minute. That's the one that refused?
Yes, Judge.
No, I'm not going to continue. Just waiver presence. Hello, sir. What's your name?
Cody Bradford.
Mr. Bradford, you are charged with domestic violence failure to comply with a court order. You have 2 other cases that are pending in Tucson City Court involving the same alleged victim. I'm going to order that you have no contact with Angel Allen. That means no face-to-face contact, no calling, no texting, no emailing, no using third parties, letters or notes or social media. You are not to go, you're not to be at a residence or workplace, and you are not to commit any acts of domestic violence, no firearms or other weapons, and no alcohol or illegal drugs. Bond is set in the amount of $2,500, and the city public defender is appointed to represent you. Video review at Tucson City Court is December 27th at 1:45. If you bond out or the attorneys decide on a non-transport review, that would be January 24th at 9. You're excused.
But I don't
Hello, what's your name?
Stephen Noene.
Or David what?
Stephen Noene.
Thank you.
Yes, $20 a month.
Mr. Noling, you have 8 files at Tucson City Court involving various types of charges: possession of drug paraphernalia, trespasses, and shoplifting. You have a new case to add to it, criminal trespass. I'm going to order that you not go to any of these incident locations, don't have any contact with any of the alleged victims. No alcohol or illegal drugs, and no firearms or other weapons. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000. The city public defender is appointed to represent you. December 27th, 1:45 is your video review at Tucson City Court. If you bond out, January 27th, 9:30 in person. You're excused. Hello, what's your name?
Hello, Isaiah Reese.
Mr. Reese. Let's see. You were charged with domestic violence, assault, and domestic violence disorderly conduct. No, that second one is not domestic violence, disorderly conduct. This is from today. And separate matter from today, failure to comply, domestic violence, failure to comply with a court order. I'm going to order no acts of domestic violence, do not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or other weapons, do not have contact of any kind with Katrina Reese or David Islava, and stay away from their home and respective workplaces. If any, you get a one-time return visit with a law enforcement escort.
To pick on that.
Sorry?
No, I said okay.
All right. No contact means no face-to-face contact, no calling, texting, emailing, using text messages, third parties, letters or notes, etc. And it doesn't matter if they want you there or not, which it sounds like they don't, but you still can't have contact with them legally. Bond is set in the amount of $500. The city public defender is appointed. Video review is December 27th at 1:45. January 17th, 9 o'clock, out of custody if it comes to that. You're excused. Hello, what's your name?
Steven Trujillo.
Okay. Mr. Trujillo, you were charged, this is from October 7th, with domestic violence assault, with injury, and October 10th, domestic violence disorderly conduct, and domestic violence criminal damage. I'm ordering that you not commit any acts of domestic violence. You're also not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and no firearms or other weapons. No contact of any kind with Victoria Griffin. Stay away from her home and workplace. No contact means no face-to-face contact, no calling, texting, emailing, using letters or notes, third parties, social media, etc. Bond is set in the amount of $1,500. The city public defender is appointed. Video review is December 27th at 1:45. If you bond out, January 23rd, 9:30. And I think I said public defender appointed. That's it. You're excused.
Thank you.
Sir, let him have to
Your Honor,
Yes.
we have Cedillos now. Would you like them to go?
I'm sorry, say again.
We have Eric Cedillos now. Would you like him to go or do you want to wait for him?
That's fine. We can do him. The person in the chair, your name?
Eric Cedillos.
Okay. So let's get your conditions up. You're charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault. We will order that you not have contact with the alleged victim or don't
Yes, sir.
initiate contact. No alcohol or illegal drugs and no firearms or other weapons are being held already on another matter.
Yeah.
State is recommending a $25,000 bond. Who's that in the background? Okay. The state's recommending $25,000 bond. We'll hear from defense counsel.
We're asking for a $5,000 bond for Mr. Cedillo for time credit. He is in custody for other charges. He had long ties to Tucson. He has limited criminal history. And again, he's in custody for other charges and hasn't been able to post the bond. So any bond is going to be akin to no bond for Mr. Cedillos.
Okay. We'll hear from the prosecution.
Your Honor, he was already in custody and decided to fight a couple of corrections officers. He's showing he's a danger to anybody he encounters. 25,000.
All right, thank you. Bond is set in the amount of 20,000. December 30th, 1:30 is your court date, and the public defender is appointed, and you are excused.
Judge, I'm sorry, did you say 20,000 or 25,000?
20,000. 20
Thank you.
000. Marissa Delgado, I'm waiving her presence. She's charged with aggravated assault. State $10,000 bond. They previously recommended 1,000.
Judge, we're asking for a $1,000 bond for time credit for Ms. Delgado. She is in custody for other charges. Any bond is going to be akin to no bond for her. She's a lifelong resident of Tucson. On the off chance she were released, she does have housing with her mother and she is employable.
All right, thank you. We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the defendant was already in custody and decided to punch one of the corrections officers. She's proven herself a danger to the community.
All right, thank you. $5,000 bond. Don't initiate contact with the alleged victim. No alcohol or drugs, no firearms or other weapons. December 30th, 1:30, legal defender appointed. Hello, what's your name?
Miss Martha Clark.
Martha Clark. Okay. Okay, you have both felony and misdemeanor cases. Your felony matters, you're charged with possession of a dangerous drug, possession of narcotic drug, and possession of narcotics paraphernalia. The recommendation is that I release you the supervision of pretrial services. And let's see. And I have a statement that I need to read to you, which I am not finding. Hold on.
Done.
Okay, you may be eligible to participate in a diversion program called STEPS that requires you to participate in a plan specific to your needs for a short time. If you complete the program, these felony drug accusations in your arrest report will be permanently dismissed without you ever being formally charged. Are you interested in getting released from jail custody now and learning more about the STEPS program at your next hearing?
Yes.
Okay. So we will put you into STEP. I'm also scheduling you into Smart Court, which will be December 26th at 9. And we'll set a preliminary hearing for February 3rd at 1:30. The public defender will be representing you. Okay. As to your misdemeanor charges, no alcohol or drugs and no return to the incident location. Your misdemeanor charges are all in Tucson City Court. You were arrested June 14th of last year for possession of drug paraphernalia. There's a failure to appear complaint as well. You were arrested January 18th of last year for passing failure to appear complaint on that one as well. April of 2015, theft and failure to appear. And possession of drug paraphernalia. This one is from May of 2015, failure to appear. Would you like to tell me about your failures to appear, particularly the ones from 2015?
Yeah, I didn't go because I moved to Mexico with my parents.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why you have warrant, because you didn't take care of your business while you were here. Nor did you let the court know that you moved. Nor did you ask permission to leave the country. I don't want to mess up your opportunity with STEP for Smart Court, so I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. All previous conditions of release still apply. If I see you back here again with failures to appear, though, you're not going to be leaving that jail for a while. Okay? Your next
Okay,
court
thank
date,
you.
your next court date is City Court, Tucson City Court is January 27th at 9:30.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're excused. Okay, these are yours. Hello, what's your name?
Rebecca Cordell.
Okay, one moment. Was there a recommendation from the state on Cordell? It's not in here. See if
Your Honor, it's going to be page 6 of the document. It's pretrial services and steps.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, you're charged with possession of dangerous drug and all unlawful possession of paraphernalia. Oh, here it is. I'm going to read a statement to you. Last part will be a question for you. You may be eligible to participate in a diversion program called STEPS that only requires you to participate in a plan specific to your needs for a short time. If you choose to participate and complete the program, these felony drug accusations in your arrest report will be permanently dismissed without you ever being formally charged. Are you interested in getting released from jail custody now and learning more about the STEPS program at your next hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will place you into the STEPS program. We'll also set you into SMART Court. That's December 26th at 9. We are ordering no alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't go back to the location of the incident. And preliminary hearing is going to be February 3rd at 1:30. The public defender is appointed to represent you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you have a bunch of cases in Tucson City Court. See here. All right, April 10th of last year, you cited for shoplifting. You have at least two failure to appear complaints. April 24th of last year, trespassing, at least two failure to appear complaints. Criminal trespass from June 20th of last year, failure to appear complaint. Criminal trespass from another one from June of last year and another failure to appear complaint. Shoplifting from February of this year, failure to appear complaints. Drug paraphernalia from April of this year and failure to appear complaints. June of this year, trespassing, interfering with judicial proceedings during session, failure to appear complaints. June of this year, trespassing, failure to appear complaints. Possession of drug paraphernalia from July of this year. And for some reason, there's no failure to appear complaint. There was a warrant. Drug paraphernalia from August of this year. So you think you can manage to make it to city court while you're dealing with your felony cases?
Yes, I do.
Hate to have to hold you on this stuff, but okay, we're
I'm
gonna
gonna,
go ahead and release you. We're gonna order no alcohol or drugs, and don't go back to the incident locations. January 27th to 30 is your court date at Tucson City Court.
Okay.
All right, you're excused.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a seat, Dr. I worked.
Hello, what's your name, sir?
Travis Edwards.
Edwards. Mhm. You're charged with burglary in the 3rd degree, 2 counts, theft of means of transportation, theft, and weapons misconduct, order. No alcohol or drugs, no firearms or other weapons. Do not have contact with any alleged victims. Stay away from the incident location. State's recommending that I hold you on a $10,000 bond. We'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Edwards is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a lower bond. He is fully employed. He owns a truck shop and he needs to work. The charges were identified as nonviolent. His last arrest was over 10 years ago. He has lifelong ties to Tucson. He has housing. He is the main provider for his 2 children. So we're asking for release to pretrial services.
Okay, one moment. All right, we'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, defendant is charged with breaking into a commercial property, stealing more than $3,000 worth of furniture as well as a utility trailer. When he was arrested, the police also discovered him in possession of a suppressor without a serial number and stolen property connected to an outstanding TPD case. State would also note the history of burglary, multiple convictions, as well as what looks like drug trafficking. Your Honor, this is 4 counts of theft. This person is a danger. $10,000 at least.
Thank you. Okay, bond is set in the amount of $10,000. December 30th, 1:30 is your next court date, and the legal advocate is appointed to represent you. You're excused.
Yes.
Hello, what's your name?
John English.
All right, you are charged with possession of a narcotic drug for sale and possession of drug paraphernalia. No order, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or other weapons. Don't return to location of the alleged incident. State's requesting a $10,000 bond. We will hear from defense counsel.
Judge, asking that Mr. English is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a lower bond. The charges were identified as nonviolent. He is fully employed. He's been with the same company for 3 years, and he's scheduled to work this year. He has long ties to the community, and he lives with his girlfriend and their kids.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from the state.
Your Honor, this individual is a 5 out of 5 and 5 out of 6 and 5 out of 6 on the NCFTA scale. He was arrested with approximately 121 grams of cocaine. He has a warrant out of California and as well has a history of robbery in the first and second degree, and he is a prohibited possessor.
Okay, $10,000 bond, December 30th, 1:30, public defender appointed. And you're excused.
Thank you.
Hello, what's your name?
My name is Chase Giles, Your Honor.
Weapons misconduct is the charge. The state's recommending a $15,000 bond.
Stop.
We'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Giles is released to pretrial services. This was identified as a nonviolent charge. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. He lives with his mother and he's the breadwinner for his family. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
All right, thank you. We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the defendant is a prohibited possessor. However, he was arrested whilst in possession of a 9mm pistol with the serial number scratched off. He has a history of armed robbery, ag assault with a deadly weapon, as well as burglary too. Looks like he also has another ag assault and DUI history. State considers him a risk. $15,000.
All right, thank you. Well, this says he's on felony probation, that there's no probation hold, is that right?
That's correct, Judge.
$15,000, December 30th, 1:30, and the public defender is appointed. You're excused. Hello, what's your name?
John Gutierrez.
He has a DOC. Thank you.
Okay, you've got 2 complaints, similar charges: possession of narcotic drug for sale, fentanyl, oxycodone, possession of a narcotic, possession of a narcotic for sale, possession of a narcotic. And then on the second complaint, possession of a dangerous drug for sale, possession of a dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia, possession of a firearm during a felony narcotics offense. State's recommending a $75,000 bond. We'll hear from defense counsel. Oh, and he has a DOC hold.
Yes, Judge. So we're asking for a $5,000 bond for time credit. Pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent, and he's a lifelong resident of Tucson. Additionally, he does have that DOC hold, so we're asking for a nominal bond for time credit.
All right, thank you. And we'll hear from the state.
And he's an NVCA, yes. He's a 4 out of 6, 6 out of 6, still on parole. 110 grams of M30s, a 9mm pistol. He is a convicted felon and therefore a prohibited possessor. Act EV 2013, firearms 2014, ag assault apparently 2024, drug sales 24, drugs in prison 2024. Your Honor, this is a dealer, and he was also found with several $100s in small bills. This is a dealer by any measure, and a armed prohibited possessor dealer with an extensive felony record.
All right, thank you. $50,000 bond, December 30th, 1:30, public defender appointed. You're excused, sir.
All right, thank you.
Hello, what's your name?
Angel Gutierrez Serrano.
You charged with fraudulent schemes and artifices and forgery. No contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the incident location. No alcohol or drugs and no firearms or other weapons. The state's recommending a $5,000 bond. We'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Gutierrez Serrano is released to pretrial services. These are identified as nonviolent charges. He's also identified as the lowest level of supervision. He's fully employed. He's very young. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. He has confirmed housing. He lives with his dad and his sister, and he has no criminal history. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
All right, let's hear from the state.
Your Honor, the defendant tried to cash a almost $70,000 fraudulent check, and the sheer number that he tried to rip off the victim and the bank calls out for a $5,000 bond.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to release you the supervision of pretrial services. Cooperate with him. Your next court date is January 8th at 1:30, and the public defender is appointed to represent you. You're excused. Hello, what's your name?
London Murray.
You're charged with possession of dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, theft of means of transportation, resisting arrest, and misconduct involving weapons. State's requesting a $15,000 bond. Oh, and you have a probation hold. We'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, these charges were identified as nonviolent, but because of the probation hold, we're asking for a $2,000 bond for time credit. London Murray.
We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, defendant's 5 out of 6, 5 out of 6, and was arrested in a stolen vehicle in possession of a short barrel shotgun as a prohibited possessor. Was also in possession of 35 Xanax, and it looked illicitly in possession of them. And he also attempted to flee, although not successfully. 15,000.
Okay, 15,000, next court date, December 30th at 1:30, public defender appointed. And you're excused.
So
So
Cory Patton.
Hello, what's your name?
Cory Patton.
Okay. You got felony, you got a misdemeanor case in Tucson City Court. Felony matter is possession of a dangerous drug and weapons misconduct. Will order no alcohol or drugs, illegal drugs, and no firearms or other weapons. Don't return the location of the alleged incident. State's asking for $7,500 bond. We'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Patton is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a lower bond. He is fully employed. He's been in the same position or he's been at the same company for 20 years. The charge was identified as nonviolent. His last felony is over 20 years ago. If he were released, he'd go to his father's house, and he has long ties to Tucson. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from the state.
Your Honor, after traffic stop and search incident to arrest, the defendant was found in possession of over 3 grams of methamphetamine, 3.71 to be precise, as well as a .45 pistol with 2 full magazines and 1 in the chamber. The state believes that $7,500 is appropriate.
All right, thank you. Bond is set in the amount of 5,000. Public defender appointed December 30th, 1:30. And you also have a misdemeanor domestic violence case in Tucson City Court. You were charged with domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct, domestic violence criminal damage, domestic trespass, and domestic violence electronic interfering with electronic communications. And this is from 2022. And you failed to appear in May of that year. Hmm. You were previously ordered not to have contact with Paul. I can't read this last name. Insel. And stay away from his home. These conditions of release still apply. Also, no acts of domestic violence. I'll note that you are being held on the felony. Bond on the misdemeanor is set at $1,500. The city public defender is appointed to represent you. Video review on the city court matter is December. Can we pick another video review date since it's the same date as the felony?
The one I have here is 27. Is that the one that I wrote on there?
You wrote December 30th, which is the same date as the felony.
Okay.
It's million. All right. The normal video review would conflict with the felony case being extended to January 8th at 1:30 at Tucson City Court.
Judge, I'm sorry, January 8th at 1:30?
1:30. And then if you are released prior to that date, it's still going to be the same date at Tucson City Court and time, but you get there in person instead of on video. Okay, you're excused. Hello, what's your name?
Kristen Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez, you're charged with weapons misconduct. We're going to order that you not possess any firearms or other weapons. Don't return to the location of the alleged incident. State's requesting a $5,000 bond. And we'll hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Ms. Hernandez is released to pretrial services. Pretrial services identified this as a nonviolent felony and the lowest level of supervision. She has ties to Tucson and no felony priors.
Your Honor.
No, don't say anything.
We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the defendant was found in possession of a 9mm with a debased serial number, admitted to owning it post Miranda, 5,000.
And she is a co-defendant of someone.
Judge, Mr. Giles, Mr. Chase, Mr. Giles.
All right. And what did I set Giles for?
It's 15,000. Chase, I mean, sorry. Yes, something.
Okay, I'm gonna release you the supervision of pretrial services. You get the same date as the others, though. It's December 30th at 1:30. The legal defender is appointed to your case. Cooperate with pretrial services. You're excused.
Judge, if I could just get one second to talk to her really quick.
Sure.
Truck or the trailer connected to.
So the truck that she is living in right now is at that location. Can she get permission to go get the truck and move it?
It's her truck.
Yes, Judge.
She can go back for that purpose to move her truck. All right, anything else?
No, Judge.
Okay, you're excused.
Right here. Have a seat, buddy.
Hello, what's your name?
Gregory Harfield.
Okay. You are charged with possession of narcotics paraphernalia. There's another charge that I will omit reading, and you have a probation hold. The state is requesting a $7,500 bond. We'll hear from the defense counsel.
We're asking for a $2,000 bond for time credit. There is the probation hold. The charges are identified as nonviolent, and he's a lifelong resident of Tucson.
All right, we'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, when apprehended, the defendant acknowledged that he knew he had violated the charge, that the reading of which was waived, and basically gave an excuse. He knew it was an obligation of his, and he just decided not to do so. Seems rather wanton, Your Honor, and given all the circumstances, $7,500.
All right, thank you. Bond is set in the amount of 2,000, December 30th, 1:30. And there are other instructions on your paperwork. You can read it for yourself. The public defender's appointed. You're excused. Yeah, I'm just waiting for them to finish their discussion, just in case.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, have a good evening, folks.
Bye, everybody.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to